down, hit save on that, 5 miles in. I'm really congested. I woke up like super congested. 5 miles, I feel really good. Start at 5 a.m. So we're gonna do 5 a.m., 9 a.m., 1 p.m. Whew. I'm gonna go cool down and I'll take you through the entire day of the Yeti challenge. Woo! I did want to go ahead and show you some of my essentials for today. I thought that'd be really, really helpful in case you are someone who wants to do this challenge, or you're just starting out running, or you're gonna run a half marathon or a marathon or an ultra or even a 5K. These are my go-tos for running. So if you've never heard of this, you need to go buy it. As it says, it's an anti-chafing balm. If you are sweating a lot, or if you shower in between runs, or if your clothes stop wicking sweat to what you need it to do, you need this. It is just like a deodorant stick looking thing that is chafe balm. And I put this all over. I learned after my first half marathon, you put it on your feet because your feet usually sweat really bad, and then it's inside your socks and you won't get blisters. Put it all over your legs, all over your arms. If you are a female, put it all over your sports bra because those areas tend to chafe. So I'm not kidding, this will save your life. Don't forget. I also went to the store last night and bought a ton of Gatorade Zero just so I could have some extra sodium and liquid. I don't like to drink my calories, but if need be, because I'm running so many miles, I will grab a regular Coke because of the sugar and the caffeine. I also make sure to do 2 vitamin C sometime throughout the day. This isn't always staple, but I have found it has helped with like runner's stomach. So I definitely keep that in, my repertoire, but I just take 2 of those throughout the day. The electrolyte stamina I've talked about so many times on my channel. I found this when we moved to Las Vegas in the summer. This is amazing. I will link all these things below so you can check this out. I usually take 2 of these every single day when I run anyways. Today I will probably take 6 or 8. But it has magnesium, potassium, B6, taurine, and then your trace minerals. It is like, this is like go juice. If you have heavy legs, if you have leg cramping, if you have soreness, you need this. So like I said, it'll be linked below. Then the last thing I wanted to show you is another secret staple of mine, dates. I started dating a couple months ago. And now I always take them with me on longer runs to snack on. And these are super helpful, especially in a challenge like this where you want a dense amount of calories, but you don't want the water from it. Or you don't want like the full stomach, because I get runner's stomach really bad. So 6 of these is 110 calories. And so on longer runs, I'll usually eat 6 every like 30 to 40 minutes as need be. I can usually get through 5 or 6 miles before needing something like to eat. But if I'm feeling it that day, this is something that's gonna be staple today because of all the runs. My body won't be able to digest, large amounts of food because I'll have to use the bathroom. This is another thing that's a staple in my house. It doesn't have to be a staple in your house. And yes, there are chips and salsa back there in the party size for later. But that is my setup. Super, super easy things. A couple of them you have to get online. A couple things you get in the grocery store. And then this you can get at Dick's Sporting Goods, but I'll also link it to Amazon. I'm not even kidding. This will save your stuff, like save you in the summertime. Even if you're just like out and about and walking a lot on vacation or hiking. Like my husband uses this for work all the time and he's told everybody at work about it and they're like, oh my God, tell your wife thank you so much. So there we go. That is today's runner stack. Round 2. I relaxed a little bit, edited part 1 of this vlog, washed up. I actually put on some makeup because it makes me feel a little bit more like human. I don't know. I'm just a makeup girl. So round 2, I haven't eaten anything yet. Normally I run fasted. So like 5 miles is not a big deal, but another go-to of mine, I will link these also in the description box below. Go Macro bars. 100% real food, raw, vegan bars. If you didn't know, I am 100% plant-based. So these are a staple for me. And this will give me enough to get through the 10-mile mark. And I brought 2 Gatorades with me. I already had one. And caffeine-wise, I've only drank about a quarter of this. So I'll kind of sip on that a little bit. I was asked over on Instagram if I plan on running the whole thing on the treadmill. No, it's like the most beautiful day out ever. It's like almost 80, I think, already. So I am going to get out for a couple outdoor jogs, but at 5 a.m. I didn't really feel like going outside, and I felt like I would be more apt to start the challenge and commit to it if I just rolled out of bed and jumped on my treadmill. Also, my treadmill is linked in the description box below if you want to check it out. I did not buy it on Amazon. I got it on Facebook Marketplace back in November or December. So if you're looking for a treadmill, just something to keep you accountable at home, check out Facebook Marketplace first. But if you want to see the treadmill I have, I'll link it below. I got it for a steal. And then I grabbed my husband's wireless earphones for this run. I actually don't have a pair. I've lost quite a few pair, but they're on the charging port right now and they'll charge up on the way. So that's it. Round 2, here we go. Woo! I just stopped to get gas really quick on the way to where I'm going and a Diet Coke because I always crave Diet Coke after a run. Don't know why. Has something probably to do with science, but I always crave it. And today I'm treating myself to it. Actually, to be honest, I treat myself to Diet Coke every single day. Sorry, not sorry. I'm running 30 miles today. I'm allowed to drink a Diet Coke. Plus, I don't feel like running 30 miles is like really granted as healthy. So like having a Diet Coke, I know a lot of people hate Diet Coke and like always look down on people for doing it. Don't leave me a bad comment. I love Diet Coke. If you love Diet Coke, you can leave me a kind comment and say you love Diet Coke, but love you, caramel coloring. You are my best friend. Just love it. But also super stoked because at Terrible's, they gave me a coupon. Well, they as in the gas pump for a free Red Bull. Like, it's like they knew today I'm gonna need that Red Bull. So I'm probably gonna go back out later to get it. But let's go run. Back in the car, drinking my Gatorade. I know I said I'd see you at round 3, but round 2, my mouth is just like, if you're a runner, you'll know what I mean? Where it just like feels like you have pooling saliva and it's like, gets sticky around your mouth. I know that's so gross, but your mouth gets so dry that like your body's making up for it and becomes like glue. So I'll never forget my water pack again. I just normally go out for like 2 or 3 miles and don't need it, but I have to remember today, like I need it. Probably so weird, but I like this at room temperature. I don't like it cold. It's also way easier to drink. So round 2 done. I feel amazing. Whew, I'm gonna go home and probably make myself a smoothie. I did start to get a cramp in my side, which I haven't gotten since I started running like over 3 years ago, and it was right towards the end and I was like, oh, and if you've ever gotten that before, it's usually like a sodium or a water issue, or your food is digesting. So like I was like, okay, just had like a little tiny one. It only lasted like a minute maybe at most, but did have that. I am riding the high from this morning and it's like doubling, so maybe it'll triple after the 3rd one. Who knows? Cracking into my Diet Coke. Oh, there's something about the bubbles and that caramel flavoring after a run. Okay, now I'll see you at round 3. I just thought I'd show you my first actual meal of the day. I did have a protein shake when I came home and I did have that Go Macro bar, but here I have 2 Boca burgers, a pretty large potato that I chopped up and put in my air fryer, and then to top it, I found some killer salsa that's actually not that hot. I don't know why it says killer salsa. And then horseradish mustard, and then pickles, because you know when you're running a lot, you need that sodium. So that is lunch, and hopefully it digests here in the next hour, 15 minutes, which should be perfect timing for round 3. Hello. I'm back inside because it's like 102 outside. I'm currently dying, and I wanted to stop and tell you guys that I'm struggling. My legs are getting really heavy. I think I need a nap. I just jumped off like 3 minutes ago and got some pickles and some pickle juice. I I have 1.25 miles to go, which probably doesn't sound like very much, but when your legs are heavy and you're tired, ooh, sorry I'm breathing so heavy. I was trying to knock out like a quick split before I stop. So I have 1.25 miles left, and I'll check in with you in a little bit. I just got done. Round three, complete. I'm dying. Like, I'm super hot, super sweaty, and super thirsty. Probably because I just took a lot of salt in. I had to stop twice to use the bathroom. That's neither here or there. That's just what's going on. My loyal dog has been hanging out with me for both indoor runs today. I'm going to get a cold bath, throw my legs up on the wall, and I'll see you for round 4. We're almost done for the day. 2 more. It's really hard. I'm 20 miles in for the day, and I just want to say right now that everyone who has sent me an Instagram message or a text message or has commented on my post to say like, you got this, you all carried me through that last run because my legs are heavy. I feel like whenever you run, you stop, you recover. And this is very challenging because you run and your body starts to recover, so it pulls lactic acid in to your muscles to help them recover. And then they get sore and they get heavy, and then you're like, just kidding, we're gonna go run again. And then it's that constant cycle. And I had to keep telling myself, you can do hard things. You can do hard things. You're not gonna die. You're just gonna be really sore. I can do hard things, and you can do hard things. So whatever hard thing is happening right now in your life, no, it's not gonna be there forever. It's just a hard thing that's there right now in front of you, and you just kind of gotta get through it. I know that seems probably silly to like use running for life things, but I've always used running for the past almost 4 years to get me through hard things. I would go on a really hard run and just tell myself, I can do hard things, I can do hard things. And I would come back so motivated to do hard things because I like had an outlet to do hard things. So we have 1 more run left tonight, and then 1 at the bright and early hours of tomorrow, and that'll be 30. So round 4, check. Aww. Hey, what's up? Let's do a recap. It's about 6:30 on Sunday morning, the day after the Yeti challenge. And if you saw, obviously you did if you made this far in the video, the little clip it where I said round 5, this is where it all went wrong. It all went wrong. So I'm gonna start by saying that I totally believe 1000% that I could do the Yeti challenge. That's why I did it. I'm an everyday runner. I put on a lot of miles. I know my body. I know what steps to take to recover. I know what is necessary to start and stop for those kind of races, but I've never actually done one. So to say that like I know it all without doing it is kind of like, well, I've read about it and I think I know it all. And I really honestly thought like, I have this, like it's gonna be great. Round 1 was a little rough because I just like literally got out of bed and started running, but I had this like runner's high from the day of just believing that I could do this. Run 2 was probably the best of the entire day because I went outside. I was in this beautiful park and it was the perfect weather. It was like my favorite, about 80, 82 for running, sunny. So I had like a nice sweat, but with the dry heat, you don't have that like humidity bounce back. Run 3 was a little tough. I should have had some caffeine pre-run because I was starting to dip a little bit, but I got through it. I had some pickle juice. My legs were starting to get heavy at this point. So I did do 2 tabs, sodium tabs pre and post, and then some pickle juice during and after. And then I took a break and I sat on the couch. And that was probably like the biggest mistake because my legs started to get really sore. Side note, I will add, I stretched after every run and foam rolled after every run. Even the one that I went to the park, I came home and got that done. So I sat on the couch for a little while after round 3. Then we went out and got a few groceries. We got some sushi because I was like, I need something. We did get some beer. So I had a beer, which is a great form of recovery. It's a great carbohydrate as long as you don't get drunk before a race. I mean, maybe I should have, but like it was great. It was so relaxing. It was like having a little day of celebration during this race day. And for me, I was treating it like a race. I was so excited. I've always wanted to do an ultra, and I thought like, this is kind of an ultra. This is like a big deal. Like putting in 30 miles in 24 hours is no small task. So then we come to round 4, which was fine. I was starting to feel a little bit more achy and my legs were super heavy. My calves were starting to cramp, and I knew it was because I kind of sat around a little bit too much. We watched, what movie did we watch? I think we watched, doesn't matter. We watched the movie, but anyways, we watched a movie. I sat around, but I had my legs up, but I felt ready to go. So 9 p.m. comes around, my husband was getting ready for bed. He had to work today, and he usually gets up at 3, so he goes to bed around 9, and I was like, I'll be quiet, I'll hurry, I'll get a quick shower, and then I'll get up at 3 when you get up, and then I'll finish my last 5 miler. That was my plan. I envisioned, you guys, because I think that's really important, like when you're about to do a task that's really hard or complicated or something you've never done before, to kind of envision how you want it to go. So you have that belief process of positivity, like this is how it's going to go and it's going to be great. So I envisioned, you know, having the best run of the day, a nice night run, getting super sweaty, super hot, grabbing a shower, jumping in bed, sleeping for 5 hours, getting up, doing it again. Mile 1, I was fine. Mile 1, I was listening to a podcast. I was super motivated, like hearing about a runner who had run a 50K on a treadmill, and his time was insane, 2 hours, 37 minutes. No, not 2 hours, 37 minutes. No, I don't remember the time, but anyways, I was listening to a podcast about a runner who was doing a 50K. Obviously, I lost some brain cells yesterday, 2 hours, 37 minutes. Anyways, that doesn't really matter, but I was listening to this podcast. And then my left leg, which has always given me issues, I've had hamstring and calf issues and IT issues on that side, started to get really heavy, and almost like the way to explain it was almost like I couldn't bend it because it was like stiff, and I was like, oh no. So I was like, I got like, you know, so much lactic acid built up, like, so I jumped off the treadmill at mile 1 and foam rolled to kind of like move it around, got some more Gatorade, I went and got some pickle juice, and I was like, okay, even if I have to stop after every mile and foam roll or stretch a little bit, like I'm still gonna get it in, and then I'll get a good night's sleep, and then I'll come back and finish. Well, by a mile and a half, I could barely stride, and the pain went from like my bottom of my like Achilles all the way up through like my hip socket. And it felt like just a really large cramp. And since my leg was so heavy, it felt like I couldn't get this cramp out. So I actually got off the treadmill at a mile and a half, went back, got my husband, was like, hey, can you help me get this cramp out? Like, so he was kind of massaging it a little bit, and I foam rolled it. And I said the same thing to him, like, honestly, I'm just gonna stop like every quarter to half mile until I literally can't go anymore. Because I know if I get these 5 miles in, like, I'll rest, I'll have some sleep, I'll feel good tomorrow, there'll be no cramping. The cramp from that point on, from the mile and a half mark, it hated me. It hated me because I stopped. And that's one thing with running. If you've ever ran a race of any kind and you start running and then you start walking, you get that lactic acid buildup in your legs, and that like makes it so much harder to restart. So that starting and stopping is not really good for you. Got back on the treadmill and I had this burning pain and this cramping, and I was like almost in tears, like I thought I had this. And then I thought, you know what, I'll get to 2 miles, because I'm always thinking of getting to the next one. Just get to the next one, girl. Just get to the next one. I started telling myself, like, just 1 more minute, just 1 more minute. And then I got to 2 miles and I was like, okay, I'll walk for a little bit. I walked for a few minutes and I noticed that like this hip and this leg, this cramp was so intense that I was like, I'm gonna have to just take a break for the night. So I hit stop, I stretched, I foam rolled, I took a hot shower, and I laid down, and the cramp, so I thought was a cramp, it kept waking me up throughout the night. And finally around like 1, I was like, I can't even sleep. So I got up, I got some more sodium tabs, I ate a couple pickles, I got a Gatorade, and I could barely walk to the kitchen. It hurt so bad. And at first I was like, is this a cramp? Because like, it feels kind of like a cramp, but also everything just feels so stiff. Like, I don't really know what this is. Like, it just feels like my whole left leg turned into a piece of wood. And that wood is now screwed into my hip socket, and it's like grinding and it hurts. And then all of a sudden I had this thought, because I like woke up, you know how like you're kind of half asleep and then you just wake up with this jolted alert of like, oh no. I had this thought of like, what if I have a hip fracture? And I was like, oh no, what if I've like tore something? Because something just didn't feel right. So my original goal, after stopping last night around like 9:20, 9:30 p.m. after constantly trying and it not working out the way I wanted to, is I was like, all right, well, I'll get up at 3 and I'll just run 8 miles. That way I got all 30. Technically, it's not the Yeti challenge. It's kind of like cheating because you're only supposed to run 5 miles at a time in 6 increments. But I was like, I just want to get these 30 miles in. So I'll just do my own version of the Yeti challenge and I'll get it done. Getting up at 1 and barely being able to walk down the hallway to get a Gatorade, I was like, there's no way. So I laid in bed for 2 hours, overthinking, overanalyzing, and thinking like, what if I have a hip fracture? Like, I should not run at 3 o'clock. And then I would tell myself like, well, you might feel good at 3 o'clock. So like, just play it by ear. And if you feel good at 3, like just warm up a little bit and get on the treadmill and you'll get 8 miles in before the 5 a.m. deadline. My husband's alarm went off and he was like, are you awake? And I was like, yeah, I've been awake for a while. I got up with him and I could barely walk. And he was like, oh babe, like he just looked at me like, oh honey. And he gave me a big hug and he's like, you don't need to do any running today. I think you need to take a break. And I was like, do you have any idea what this could be? Because I've been Googling for the past 2 hours and I think I have pegged it as Dr. Miranda of the Google Education Services, that it's either a hip fracture, which I swear if it is, like, I would just be devastated, or it's bursitis. And so he's like, well, what does it feel like? And we were talking as he was getting ready for work, and he's like, I would probably say it's bursitis. Text your sister when it gets closer to her being up and ask her. She's highly trained individual in these categories of sports medicine. So I honestly texted her really early and just like waited for her to respond. I knew she'd be up early because her kids were around, but I just told her my symptoms. She knew what I was doing yesterday. She knew, you know, that I was starting and stopping, going on different forms of tread. Like I was outside, I was inside, I was on the road, I was, you know, on the sidewalk, I was all over. So she said, without me even saying like, is this or is this? She's like, I'm pretty sure it's bursitis. Like, you just need to stretch, ice it, maybe put some heat on it later and relax. And she's like, honestly, do not run. Like, do not go run those 8 miles. And I was like, okay. So I laid in bed for a couple more hours with my legs elevated with some ice on them. I did get up a little while ago. Like I said, it's about 6:30 and I'm not finishing. And I was really disappointed last night not finishing those 5, probably more so than I am like this morning. Maybe because I've had time to think about it, maybe because the pain has like become more, I'm not really sure. But I'm okay not finishing. I know that 22 miles is still like amazing. I am allowed to be disappointed in something that like I wanted to do, but I only also plan to do this as of like Wednesday. So like I can't be super disappointed. It's not like I was training for this in any sort of way. I'm just a runner who just decided to go for it. And I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of myself for doing it. And someone asked on Instagram yesterday, like, are you tired of running? No, honestly, these feats of endurance are why I run. I love ultra running and long, bouts of running. So like, I honestly can't wait to feel better, just to go out and run, just to be like, oh, breath of fresh air. Like, I'm not broken, I'm still good. So I will get that Yeti. I might just train a little differently. The next time I do it, it probably won't be for a little while because my leg's gonna have to rest for at least 7 to 10 days. Make sure that like it's healing properly, that I heal properly, and I'm gonna have to start back really slow to make sure like I don't, put too much on it and then obviously hurt it worse or re-injure it again. So no, I'm not tired of running. I'm really proud of myself. I'm a little bit disappointed, I'm allowed to be, but I'm really grateful that I decided to vlog all this so that way I can look back in years to come and be like, dang girl, you did all that. Like, way to go. Like, that's awesome. It's no easy feat. I also want to say thank you so much for everyone who sent me a message or commented on my Instagram post or sent me a text message. That was so incredibly kind, and a special shout out to my friend Amy. She let me know on Thursday, I think it was, that she also wanted to do a challenge like this, and congratulations to her because she did an entire half marathon yesterday, split up like I did, and she felt over the moon. Like, we were texting all day, and just having her like to text and have the accountability towards, and just to tell her how I was feeling, or like, hey, I'm having a Diet Coke because like I just ran 5 miles, and like that was so fun. So if I ever do this again, I hope Amy does it again with me. If not, maybe another friend will jump in, but so thankful for you, Amy. Like, you just made my whole day. And yeah, like, I didn't finish. I end up a little bit injured, but dang, was it fun. So I'll be back. I will get that Yeti. I hope you guys have an awesome weekend. Thanks for joining in on my challenge. I will see you in my next video. Bye.